I'm seeing shimmers in this long-lasting dream. A made-up image, bringing back memories. Yes, I've been wasting like most of my life, watching paintings dry. I wanna take back the hours we last singing lullabies.
2019 ZX6r. I got it August last year, but I've only literally just run it in, to be honest with you. I put a Yoshimura 3/4 pipe on, took the cap off. Sounds way better now. Put a tail tidy on from RNG, just some crash protection, and a screen from Puig, don't know how you say it, some Spanish company. Really good quality though. Makes a big difference. Oh, and a RAM mount as well for my phone. You can hear the exhaust now. Let's go. So welcome to the Mostly Motorbikes channel. I wanted to start off doing an introduction video first, just to talk about what I was going to post and why I started the channel and everything else. And I recently got back into bikes after not riding for about 15 years. So I rode most of my early 20s up to being about 25. I rode lots of different bikes, all sort of sport, super sport 600s, leader bikes, R1s, etc. And I sort of quit riding when I was about 25, and then I had a kid and another one, and then the third kid came along, and you know, I sort of spent the last 10-15 years building a family and a house and making sure that everybody's good. And it's only really this last year or so that I've been in a fortunate enough position to be able to justify the expense of having a bike again. And you know, I've always loved bikes. I call the channel Mostly Motorbikes because, you know, the majority of stuff I'll post is probably about bikes, my bike. I've got a load of track days planned, and so I might post some car stuff from time to time, who knows, but it will be Mostly Motorbikes, so thus the name of the channel. And yeah, when I started looking at getting back into bikes sort of this time last year, really, you know, I follow all the big car YouTubers and bike YouTubers, and I was trying to find someone similar to me who'd got back into it just to get some of their learnings and experience, and I couldn't find anything really. You know, I'm 41 now, so like I said, it's been about 15 years since I rode a bike, and I kind of thought, you know, I know loads of different people like me that have either used to ride bikes or have always wanted to ride bikes but never been able to for one reason or another. And I wanted to just make a channel just so I could just share what I've been up to, really, share my love of bikes and my experience getting back into bikes and how things are different and just all that stuff. I'm not going to do bike reviews, I'm not qualified for that. I'll tell you what I think of it and what my opinion is, but I wouldn't say it'd be a review. Yeah, so those are kind of things that I'm going to talk about on the channel. I'm probably going to get into some enduro stuff next winter, well, this coming winter now, just coming out this winter obviously, just because I don't want to go through another winter not riding bikes again. So I've got a KTM motocross day booked in a couple of weeks, actually, a couple of Sundays time, which I'm really looking forward to. Never done much motocross, just dicking about really when I was a teenager. But a lot of the stuff I'm going to do is going to be track day focused, sports bike riding focused. I've got about 6 track days booked this year already. I think Donington's the first one on end of March, towards the end of March. Hopefully the weather will hold, but we'll see. So I've got, I think I've got 3 at Donington, 2 booked at Cadwell Park, and I've already booked a end of November end of November trip to Jerez in Spain, obviously. That's a 3-day track day. I'm really looking forward to that. So there's going to be a lot of track content. There'll be more than that booked. This year mainly Donington and Cadwell, just because I'm going to have to ride my own bike to the track, and they're the closest ones. All the other tracks are kind of just that little bit too far away to want to really ride this. This bike's great for anything other than sat on a motorway. Those of you who don't know about this bike, they changed the gearing on this year's model, so they've upped the front sprocket a tooth, which has give you loads of low down grunt and acceleration, and it's really cool. The trade-off is you sit at 70 on a motorway, and it's just absolutely screaming at you, so it's just not pleasant. Yeah, I was looking at, like I said, I was looking at getting back into bikes last year, and I think, like I said, I'd probably spend a good 10 years really just dedicating my life and money and everything else to getting the family house and getting it set up and saving up for kitchens and bathrooms and kids and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I just started to get a real, I don't know, this probably is a bit cheesy and corny, but I just wanted, I needed to do something for myself, and like I'd always missed bikes so much that, like I said, as soon as sort of financially I was able to justify it, just about, it was always going to happen. So plus I wanted to do something for me. You know, I've got 3 kids and a pretty intense job. I was going to say 9 to 5, but it's not 9 to 5. It's I love the job, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about my job at all, but it's pretty it takes a lot of your time and energy and soul, and but I wouldn't change it for the world. But you know, the point I'm making is I wanted to do something for me, and just get a bit of a hobby. And actually I quite fancied learning how to edit videos as well, so this is going to be an interesting experience. I'm going to try and teach myself how to edit videos. So you're going to see probably mixed production quality over the probably first few videos until I figure it out, but I'll get there. I've been having a little play around and it's pretty enjoyable. The roads are a bit crap, so I need to just be careful a bit. And there's going to be a lot of things happening next year. So, as I mentioned Jerez before, the way that that's going to work is I drop my bike off to No Limits Track Days, the company, but I drop the bike off to them down in Donington. They put it in a van and take it to Jerez for me, and I sort of follow it down on a plane. Ideally, what I want to do and what I'm going to do next year is I'm going to buy my own van. I don't need another car, so I'm going to swap my car out for a van, and then I'm going to start to, you know, try and do a couple or so European, probably Spanish, but European track days a year as a bit of an adventure. So I'll pack the van up in my own van, and you know, ultimately long term, my little boy's only 6, but I'd like to think that I could take him with me and just go on a bit of a boy's adventure, and then maybe once I figure it out I could put the family, the 3 girls on a plane, and they could meet me out there, and I could sort of include everybody, and then everybody wins really, and then we could perhaps do some more. So yeah, there's going to be quite a few track days. There will be different bikes. You know, I know what I'm like. I love this ZX6r, and I'll certainly keep it for the majority of this year, but I would be very surprised if there wasn't a new bike this year. So there'll be a load of test rides. I've already got a test ride planned on the new Aprilia RSV4R. There will be a Lita sports bike coming soon. I don't know what. In fact, actually, I'd be really interested to know if anybody who's watching this has gone from, you know, a 600 to a Lita, particularly around track days, track time. How did you find it? What did you feel? I remember when I used to do track days before, being honest, I think for my level of skill at the time, I could probably go, certainly in my head, faster on the 600s than I could the 1000s. I took an R1 on track and various things. I'll do a separate video on what bikes I've owned and what I liked another time. But yeah, leave it in the comments, let me know what you think. Did you go from a 600 to 1000? What 1000 did you buy? Why did you buy it? I'm starting to get the opinion with the 1000ccs that I think it's just whatever takes your fancy, really. They all seem to have electronic suspension. They're all pretty much as much of a muchness. And unless you're at, you know, elite racer level, I don't think you're going to tell much difference that you see on these reviews, you know. I will ride some of these bikes and tell you what I think, but they won't be reviews. I mean, I'm not going to be pushing them to those kind of levels, but, you know, maybe I can tell you what an average Joe feels on them. Thank you. I mean, this 600, certainly on the road, I don't know why I'd ever need anything quicker. I mean, I'll buy something quicker, definitely, but I don't know why I need it. Because I'm a child, that's why. But I'm an immature man-child, but you don't need it. I mean, this is just ballistic. Yeah, look, you know, I'm going to make videos and put them on the internet and talk about bikes and maybe some cars and just general petrol head stuff, really. If you enjoy it, cool, thank you for sticking around, I appreciate it. And yeah, give me some comments on the audio and picture quality as well. I'd be really keen for some help and guidance on that. It looks like I'm using a GoPro Hero 8, by the way. I'm filming this right now in 2.7K 60, but it looks like the move is to upload to YouTube in 2K 30, because I don't think we're going to get much benefit of 60 frames a second uploading. And if I want to slow anything down, I can just film everything in 60 and then render it to 30 frames a second, and then if I slow it down, then cool. If anyone's got any suggestions or other than that, let me know. I mean, the Hero 8 will do 4K 60, but, you know, I don't know who's watching that. Tell me. Happy to be corrected on that one. I'm just learning about making videos and editing, so anyone want to give me some advice, feel free. Yeah, I think a little goal for me this year. I want to just get back to as quick as what I was before. I'll put in a clip now, actually, if I can figure out how to edit it in. But I'll put in a clip now from 2003 of me at Donington Park on an R1, just a little clip. This was me. I paid I don't think you can still do this actually, but you used to be able to pay like a semi-pro or one of the instructors to follow you around with a camera bike and do your little homemade video. VHS it was at the time. Jesus Christ, I'm old. Yeah, I've got a little clip of that, so excuse the quality, but I'll put a picture up, and I want to get back to as quick as that, if not a bit quicker, this year, and then next year really try and build on that, and probably try and go for the ACU race license. That would be something I've always wanted to do. And, you know, maybe 41 with 3 kids is not the ideal age to do that, but you got to live a little, haven't you? So yeah, look, in summary, I'm going to post about my bikes, my journey getting back into bikes from 15 years out as a 41-year-old. I'm going to post a lot of track content throughout the year, some European travel and track content. I'll probably more than likely post some car content when something takes my interest, petrol head stuff. I recently went to a motorbike show. I might put some of that up, some really cool stuff at that bike show. So yeah, thanks for sticking around. Hopefully you like the video. If you do, if you could hit the like and subscribe button, and leave me a comment if there's anything constructive you want to say. Give me any advice. I'll certainly take it on board and try and make the next one better.